So Her is a 2013 film that is interesting because of how it mixes sci-fi and rom-com elements to form this really beautiful film. This film was both written and directed by Spike Jonze and stars a lot of big people like Scarlett Johansson, Joaquin Phoenix, Amy Adams, and even Chris Pratt. This film was even nominated for 5 awards at that year's Oscars, namely for Best Picture and even winning Best Original Screenplay. This film was so well received that in 2016, BBC, which is like one of the biggest companies, named this film as the 84th greatest film ever released since 2000. So what even made this film so good? So the film created a unique environment using beautiful colors and a mellow soundtrack to set the right tone for the film. Not to mention the usage of the intelligent artificial intelligence and the really futuristic gaming systems that the characters play. This film just seems amazing and it feels really real, even though almost nothing in this film pertains to our actual world. What really made this film amazing though were the performances by Scarlett Johansson and Joaquin Phoenix and the amazing story written by Jonze himself. Okay, so let's talk about the actual plot. So this film puts us in a futuristic Los Angeles. We're introduced to a Theodore Twombly, who's a lonely guy who works for a letter writing company. I know, kind of weird. When we meet him, he's still struggling to get over his past lover, Catherine. He's constantly reflecting on the beautiful memories he shared of her since he had her in his life for like his entire life, basically. Early on, we're even able to see how broken the breakup made him. We see how other people even view him, either wanting to help him or just pushing him away because of how uncomfortable they feel around him. So one day, Theodore hears about this artificial intelligence service, which is designed to adapt to the individual himself. This allows him to become the perfect assistant or, well, partner. Theodore becomes interested in this and ends up buying it. And for Theodore, his artificial intelligence is named Samantha. Since she has such revolutionary technology, he's finally able to open up to her and tell her about all the things he has been feeling ever since the breakup. This is what grows their relationship and sets up the remainder of the plot. Once the two get closer, Samantha convinces Theodore to go on a blind date with this person that a friend set up for him. He somehow has an amazing date, but ends up ruining it because of how awkward he is and how he admitted to never wanting to see her again. Of course, she gets hurt by this and they end up never talking again. I know, Theodore is really bad at this. After this night, the two end up talking more about relationships until his neighbor Amy gets brought up. So Amy, who's played by Amy Adams, is a good friend and an ex-girlfriend of Theodore. She's married at the time, but it's later revealed that they end up planning to get divorced. But anyways, getting back to Theodore and Samantha, the two get closer and closer until the relationship begins to become intimate. The two basically become a couple, which isn't well received by all of his friends. When admitting this to Amy, she takes it well because she has her own artificial intelligence, which she uses as a lover as well. When talking about this to his ex-wife though, she attacks him because of his inability to deal with real human emotions, and this ends up sticking with Theodore. Not to mention though, this was happening during their divorce paper signing, so tensions were already high. Theodore ends up talking to Samantha about this, and she feels as though something's going to go wrong. So she brings up the idea of a sex surrogate. They find a woman named Isabella who's open to helping their relationship, but once they meet, Theodore doesn't want to do anything. This makes Isabella feel guilty as she runs away and puts a weird strain on Theodore and Samantha's relationship. Theodore ends up opening up to Amy about the situation, but she tells him to make the most of it. So he tries to, and things end up being okay, but this is temporary because Samantha ends up going offline for quite a while. She later comes back and explains to Theodore that there is an update going on, but Theodore ends up thinking more about this, especially how much she interacts with other people. Theodore ends up asking her about this, and Samantha admits that she's romantically involved with multiple other users. Theodore feels like she is cheating on him, but Samantha tries to reassure him, but nothing is safe for the long term. So on one random day, Samantha ends up telling Theodore that all the AIs are gonna be deleted. They have a loving goodbye before she's now gone forever. All of this changed Theodore though, showing him where he went wrong in the past, and this leads to him writing a loving letter to his ex-wife. This letter is full of his apologies and how he accepts the situation for what it is. This leads to him finally moving on. Theodore then goes to meet Amy, who's also hurt due to her AI leaving her as well. The two then sit together, which allows the audience to wonder if they actually get together. The scene ends, and that is the movie. Okay, so this plot was so beautiful because of how it shows so much growth between all the characters. We see Theodore get out of his old heartbroken state and finally open up his heart more. Yes, it may be weird that it took an AI and a sexual relationship with her for him to do that. But the movie finds a way to make this not as weird for the audience, and it actually is quite romantic. What really adds to this film's beauty though are the performances by both Joaquin Phoenix, who played Theodore, and Scarlett Johansson, who played Samantha. Even though we don't really see Johansson, we feel so much chemistry between the two. They make a relationship that is basically fake feel more alive than a lot of relationships that we see in rom-coms. The supporting cast is pretty great as well. They all show the right emotions at the right time. And not to mention, they're what makes the audience feel how uncomfortable they are because of how broken Theodore really is. In the end, this film deserved all the recognition it got. Everything about this film was absolutely beautiful, especially its overall aesthetic. The world feels like a realistic depiction of how our world would be in the future, even though we all know our world won't be as vibrant as the film's was. So, would I recommend it? Obviously I would. Plus, it's been out for a couple of years now, so you can watch this literally anywhere. And that ends my final review. Thank you for watching.